This is a tutorial and a walkthrough on how to run Electron Cash on a remote machine, particularly for running CashFusion or CashShuffle. So these are anonymizing protocols and plugins that you can run in the Electron Cash wallet for Bitcoin Cash. And so why would you want to run Electron Cash on a remote machine? There's a few different reasons. Probably the most common reason why I've been trying to do this and why I've seen other people want to do this is it lets you run the CashFusion or the CashShuffle 24/7. So if you run it on your home computer or a laptop and you shut that laptop down for the night when you go to bed, that also shuts down Electron Cash and it removes your wallet from the liquidity pool. And so by running Electron Cash on a remote machine that can be up 24/7, that means your wallet can be in the liquidity pool 24/7, and you have a much better chance of consolidating your UTXOs, which is kind of a difficult thing to do right now at this stage of the network because of low liquidity. So ultimately, this improves the liquidity for you personally and also for the entire pool of people using the protocol. And this is also a really nice complement to a previous video that I did that showed how a process that I use of using both CashFusion and CashShuffle and running two separate wallets and a little bit of software I wrote to generate large anonymous UTXOs. Because I think ultimately this is what people are trying to do. And hopefully by increasing the liquidity, we can achieve this user experience for everybody just by using CashFusion. But we will probably not be able to achieve that until we increase liquidity, which this technique does. But until sufficient liquidity is achieved, you can use this process in this YouTube video here. It's called consolidating a CashFusion and CashShuffle API on YouTube, and let me get back to it. That'll show you the process that I use by using both CashShuffle and CashFusion to generate large anonymous UTXOs. So how would you go about doing this? Okay, so for the rest of the video, I'm gonna do a walkthrough. I'm gonna start from scratch, and everything that I'm going to show is going to be based on this tutorial hosted by DigitalOcean, and I'm going to be using DigitalOcean. So let's go to that tutorial right here. And so I am running an Ubuntu desktop, but this will work if you're running a Mac or Windows as well. But what we're going to do is run a DigitalOcean droplet, which is a virtual private server in DigitalOcean, and running Ubuntu 18.04. And we're going to configure it as a VNC, so we'll configure it with a remote desktop, and then we'll connect to that remote desktop and run Electron Cash in the graphical user interface on that machine. So where you should start is go to DigitalOcean and create an account, and this is what it'll look like. So DigitalOcean, they call droplets, they're VPSs. They're the same thing as like if you go to AWS, they would call those EC2 instances. Same exact thing. Same if you go to Linode, I think they just call them VPSs. But anyways, we're going to create a droplet. So we're going to create the virtual machine, the remote machine. And what's cool about this is it seems to work just fine. I haven't fully tested this, but it appears to at least be functional by using the cheapest $5 a month. And I think if you sign up for a new account, you'll get $10 for free. So anyways, we're going to use the cheapest one. I like to run mine in San Francisco, and might as well turn on IPv6. This is like none of this is critical, but it's good to have. The SSH key is probably the more secure way to do this, but I'm a little fond of these one-time passwords. So we'll do that. I'm going to call this Electron Cash. And create the droplet. So there we can see this progress bar. It's spinning up the new virtual machine. And I'll also get a password and IP address in my email. So I'm going to pause the video and grab that real quick, or wait for this VPS to spin up, and then get that from my email. Okay, so the VPS is spun up. Here's the IP address. So I'm going to copy that, and I also got the email. I copied and pasted it here into this text editor. So again, there's the email address with the username root, and here's the password, the temporary password. So I am going to create a new terminal window, and I'm going to secure shell into this new droplet with the IP address they gave me, and copy this password. It's going to prompt me for a new password, so I'm going to put that in. Let's see. Oh, I put in the wrong password. Okay, there's the password. Current password, paste that in again. Give it a new password. Okay, cool. So I'm root, and I really don't like doing things as the root user. I try to avoid it whenever possible because root can do a lot of damage by accident. So I will usually do add user and create a new user for myself, and do everything through that. It's just good best practices. It can be a little tedious at first, but once you get used to doing it, it'll feel really natural. And then of course I'm going to want to add my new user to the sudo group so that I can run root commands when I need to. So I'm going to exit out, and I'm going to log back in as my new user. Okay, so the virtual machine is running. You can see it's got a gigabyte of memory. Always good idea to run this update command as the very first command, just to make sure that the machine is up and running. And now we can get started on this tutorial. So how to install and configure a VNC on Ubuntu 18.04. And you can read this when you want. We just ran this command. Now I'm going to run this command. And so what you need to do is install these basic packages here, and then this server here, and then you'll be able to start VNC server. So I'm going to pause the video here and run these installation commands until I get to this point here. Okay, I got type VNC server installed and these other packages installed, and so now I should be able to run this VNC server command. Give it a password. No, I don't want a view only password. Cool. Okay, it was able to run, and so I'm going to skip down here. Go ahead and read this when you want. I've done this before and I know what I'm doing, so that's why I'm going so fast. And you can read it at your leisure. I'm going to turn that server off, and I'm going to go into this .vnc folder, and there's the X startup. I'm going to back it up as they recommend. And I'm going to edit it. And I haven't tried it with the defaults. These might be fine, but it worked really good with what they recommended here in the guide, which is use this startx command. And okay. Oh, and then make sure it's executable. It is. Okay, so now I can start up the VNC server again. And there it is on port 1. And so it defaults to 5901. Now, they show how to do it with SSH, which is interesting. I'm on Ubuntu, and I use an application called, what is this? Remote desktop viewer. Vinegary. Vinegary is the name of this app that I'm using. And so this is part of Ubuntu. You can get it through the Ubuntu store. And I think they have some recommendations for different software you can use for Windows and Mac. Anyways, I didn't really do this last part. Oh, I guess that would be important for setting it up later. But anyways, you'll need to have some sort of VNC client that runs on your desktop, on your host machine. Tight VNC is a common one, and Real VNC is another common one that I think runs on all the major operating systems. But anyways, this is what I use, and now that it's running, I can copy this. I'm going to use the VNC protocol, and I can copy that IP address, and it's going to be 5901, I believe. Port 5901. So there's a little colon in between. And connect, and it's going to prompt me for that password that I set. And there we go. Now I have a graphical user interface which is running on this remote virtual private server. And I'm still connected here on the command line to that virtual private server. So I can see that I'm only using 164 megabytes of the 985 that are available of the memory, so not a whole lot of overhead here. So the other link that I have here is the CashFusion download page. It's on C3 Soft. I got this from the Telegram group, the CashFusion Open to All Telegram group, which is t.me/CashFusion if you want to join it. This is the latest version is usually pinned to the top of the channel, and that's the link right there that I'm showing. And so that is right here. That's this page. So he's got Kalen, who built this. He's got the image from Macintosh and the exe for Windows, and for Ubuntu, which is what we're using on this remote machine, we want this app image, not the .asc and not the SHA-SUM, but the app image. And we can use the wget command. So I just use wget and pasted that link in there, and so that's going to download it. Okay, and then I can change it to be executable. That's the +X. And now you can see it's in green. So when I go back to the remote desktop and I open a file explorer, there it is. I can double click on it now, and it will execute. And so this is a brand new wallet, so I can go through the steps and set up a new wallet. I'm not going to do that here. I'm going to stop here because now Electron Cash is running, and if you run Electron Cash on your local machine, you should be familiar from here on out on how to set it up. And but what's cool is once this is running, this will continue to run. You can shut down this VNC application, this remote desktop viewer, and it will continue to run on this remote machine 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And that should make it much easier to send Bitcoin Cash back and forth and use the CashFusion and consolidate your UTXOs that way. One thing I won't show here, but is also really useful, is, let's see if I can pull it up. I think I have it on my favorites. Is this it?
The same procedure.
Yeah, okay, this video right here, chat on tails. That's interesting. I didn't think it shows you how to use Pigeon, and this is like an older application. It's been around for a very long time, and it uses this Jabber or XMPP protocol, which is pretty old as well and pretty stable. And this is a way to set up end-to-end encrypted chat between, say, your local machine and your remote machine. You could set up Pigeon with OTR, off the record, and this video will show you how to set this up. It's another walkthrough, and that will let you send like Bitcoin Cash addresses back and forth between the computers, and you know that it's end-to-end encrypted, and no one's going to be snooping that data. So that would be like another good thing to do after you set up your Electron Cash wallet, and that should let you be able to easily and securely send Bitcoin Cash addresses and Bitcoin Cash between your local wallet and the wallet on this remote machine. Okay, hopefully this helps people stay anonymous and keep and achieve financial privacy.